Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of the build of the EasyGlider 4. Today we're starting work on the fuselage, but we're starting with these first. So in the box you get a bundle of tubes. You get these two, which are sort of kind of see-through white and are just solid rods. That's for fuselage strengthening. And then you get three different types of sort of tube to make up your control linkage. You have the bigger outer tube, inner plastic, and then the actual metal. Now these are separate. I've just assembled them to show you what they look like. Now in the book, what it recommends you to do is cut them to the right size, then assemble them and then glue them in. What I'm going to do is actually glue just the... I've had the fuselage out here to see if there's any problem with me just doing the outer tube. Doesn't look like there is, so I'm going to do just the outer tube. I'm going to cut everything to the right size and then I'll install it in the fuselage, make sure it all looks right. Then I'll take it out, put glue in where it needs to be, and then put the tubes in afterwards. So I'll see you very shortly. Okay, so I have got the first shell out. I've got the tube in roughly where it seems to show it going up to on the drawing. It's not the easiest thing to see in the world. Sort of a little bit further back than that roundness. I've got it pushed in all the way here to a very sensible place. So what I've got to do now is run glue on the inside and some glue on the outside. It's very important to try and keep the fuselage straight because this is what makes the fuselage straight or not. So I'm going to concentrate on doing that. By all accounts, I'm going to read the instructions again, but it almost seems to say put it in the slot and then run glue over the top. So that'll be interesting. I can do that here definitely, but here it doesn't feel like it's deep enough in. Oh, it might be. Okie dokie, ladies and gentlemen. So welcome back to another episode on the EasyGlider build. I have got some parts that have arrived in the post that I wish to show you. First of all, let's do the easy stuff first and move from there. So this is a RunCam FPV recorder. So this basically goes between a normal RunCam and your video transmitter and then records stuff to an SD card. That's in case this other RunCam box doesn't do what I want it to do. So this is a RunCam split hybrid. So this is sort of the equivalent of the Cadex that I had. Now I really like RunCam cameras and I need to thank RunCam every time. I did pay for this fully out of my own money, but RunCam have offered me discounts off of products in the past because of the channel. So thank you very much to them. So you can see this is much like the Tazia. It is smaller, so I have got to use the adapters and the frames that I have purchased from Flying Tech, but I've got a set of that in the drawers, so that'll be fine. And the last thing from these two have come from Banggood. The third thing from Banggood is the video transmitter. Excellente. The last thing that came from Wheelspin Models is the official Multiplex motor for the EasyGlider. So this is 28 by 34, 850 kV. The one I had before is 28, 34, 910 kV. So when I opened this, it was at this moment he knew he'd fucked up because this is the same size as that. I thought it must have to be a much bigger motor to fit on here. You can see the holes. It's hard for me to do while holding the camera. In fact, let me set up the camera and I'll show you what's going on. So I'm going to mount this from the other way just so you can, because it's easier. If you have a look, these holes actually line up fine with those middle slots. So this was basically a giant waste of money because, so this I think is 16 by 16, whereas this is 16 by 19 because, let me make sure the holes lined up roughly where they should be. It's slightly harder because it's a black motor. What the piss is happening? Yeah, so the top and bottom holes are now lined up. The outer ones aren't, but I can just file them. The reason I'm going to go for this is because it's 910 kV. It's going to have a bit more oomph, which, considering we're going to have all the extra weight of the FPV gear on the glider, probably a good idea. I would return this, but the problem is I ripped the lid, and also the bag that it comes in is like a bubble wrap bag that you have to rip to get into because it's like heat sealed. Real pain in the arse. What I'm going to do is probably sell it on eBay. If it had come in a Ziploc bag and I hadn't ripped the lid, I'd have sent it back because it was in fully resaleable condition. But it isn't really fair on the shop to make them lose the money for something that was my fault. Well, it's Multiplex's fault, but never mind. No idea what these holes are for them. But anyway, we can move on with stuff to do with that. Let's get to it. Okay, so I've been having some weird and wonderful issues today. Well, I managed to get the motor in eventually after a lot of filing. Use these bolts to get as close as possible to the plastic. That's done. I have also cut out some of the foam here, so we've got room for the receiver. I then moved on to doing the receiver, and what a fucking nightmare. By the looks of it, from when I went on the site, it didn't look as if they were selling the normal R9 Slims anymore. You only have these annoying access over-the-air ones. So I flashed it with the firmware that I flashed my other Slim, which was not an over-the-air one. I tried to bind it and it won't bind. I presume I need to update the OpenTX version. I need to update the module, and I need to update this. My big problem is I'm slightly concerned that if I update the module, is everything going to be unbound? Because they're not going to be access. So I need to do some research into that, because it's going to be a real ball ache. So I'm going to have to do some, as I do some research into what's going on with it, and take it from there. But kind of annoyed that I haven't been able to get on with things. And considering that I just bought the Futaba 16 that's on the shelf over there, and part of that was because of firmware issues possibly causing issues on FreeSky, but on my other radio, this is possibly proving a point. Hopefully I don't have to buy a new module. If I have to buy a new module, I'm going to be really pissed, to be brutally honest. But I'm going to do some research, see what works with what, and I'll get back to you. But please like this video if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new. If you have any questions, leave them as a comment. I'm going to pack up in here and then take all this clobber upstairs to work out what the hell I'm going to do. But thank you for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.